if people are, what kind of makes me laugh in a way is that some people in Japan are making a big fuss over, oh, K-pop is coming in, they're infiltrating Korea, is taking over, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at, you know, what was that? Lost my train of thought. Kind of like what you were saying with, you know, what's on TV. Why isn't anybody complaining about why is AKB48 on TV all the time? Why is all the Johnny's Idols on there all the time? Why is it only because of Korea and coming in? And I think it has a little bit has to do with the history that Japan and Korea have, obviously.
The xenophobia, man.
Right. You know, that has another thing to do with it.
It's a nationalistic thing.
You're right. And
like, it may be crappy, but it's ours.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
and I get that. You want to take pride in what's your own, you know. But there's nothing wrong with...
Nobody's taking that away from you. But fucking hell, make it good.
Exactly.
Okay?
And I've said this constantly lately, and I feel like it pains me to say it, but Japan needs to step up their game musically because, yeah, the underground scene has some great stuff, but unfortunately, you can't find a lot of it.
We're not going to see them sitting next to downtown.
Right, exactly. They're not going to be on music station sitting next to Gakkit, unfortunately, you know? And for us who are not in Japan, it's hard for us to search and find things or music of these underground artists because, you know, relatively they're not getting a lot of exposure. But what you do see exposure of is the AKBs, the Johnnies, the this, the that. Where was I going with this?
It's a lot to think about.
For real. I'm like, my mind's going a million miles an hour.
There's certain bands and certain artists that once they're at a certain level, it's like they're a given. They
and
can
that's
be
it.
out of the show. Like if you're in a Larkin Ciel, if you're a Gakkit, if you're an AKB48, if you're Johnny's, if you're like a Crystal K and M Flow, you're noticing like the trend here, you know, Gakkit, Crystal K. All these people, they're from Avex.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Avex is like a big ass shareholder in that industry.
Oh, yeah.
So these are the people that you're going to be seeing, you know, because they're the ones that have the deal. You know, they're the ones that have the exposure. So that's why I was like, damn, it took Second Action, what, 4 years?
Exactly.
To get on fucking music
I was
station?
just going to say that. Mm-hmm.
Like, how long do they have to promote and get number one
exactly
in order to be on a show like that?
Right. Like, what's up? Why can't we?
Because we see some of these bands get on the Oricon to number one.
Right.
Like Gazette, like, you know, and we're like, we
Alice
don't
9.
see them on these shows. We see them on the radio shows. Because there's a lot of J-rock radio shows that promote that stuff. But, you know, on the other hand, the Oricon chart is kind of shady too.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people, there's a lot of disputes over how many units get moved on. And from what I understand, the Oricon, it isn't reliable or accurate 100% of the time. And it's been suggested by people who live in Japan and people who follow that media that there are more reliable and more accurate charts out there aside from the Oricon, because they do have a Billboard Japanese thing, but it's not.
It's still new.
It's not relevant like the Oricon chart is.
Right.
You know,
they just started that probably earlier this year, didn't they start that? I believe.
I think so.
Right. It's still new.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll take a while for us to really kind of get a grasp of what's really number one and what's just being bought as number one.
Yeah, but a lot of artists, a lot of songs, a lot of singles, a lot of albums, okay, come and go in that scene that we will never hear from in terms of promotional, like from a promotional level. That's just the way that it is. I don't know.
I know, man.
I think some of these idol shows in Korea actually promote some of the artists better, because I mean, it may be boring as hell, and sure, they might not be making money like the way they do in Japan, but we're forced to watch it.
Yep.
We are forced to watch it until our fucking 2 p.m. comes on. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We watch that and make sure we get what it is that we're watching. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes. So,
but
yeah, and there's more live shows in Korea too.
Oh yeah.
Japan is everything is taped. So, for the most part, since they have that type of system, you have to be hot. You have to be what's hot to them in order for them to pre-record that stuff and then air it later.
Because you know what? I was looking at some of the variety shows that they do in Korea, and I was like, man, this would be great if they did it in Japan as well. Like the original Family Outing, I would have loved to see a Japanese version of that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. To
have some of the artists go out and do what they do.
But no, they would rather die, Sin. They would rather die.
You know what? Yeah. Before they do something Korea does. Right. Idiots. I mean, it's just, we understand where the anger is coming from. We get it. We understand. We understand that. But also, I think people need to understand that, number one, in the end, it's music, it's entertainment, and if you enjoy it, it's all good. Don't take it so seriously. Number 3, Japan, kind of chill out a little bit. You know, nobody's trying to take over Japan. Japan's gonna still be there after the Hallyu wave come and goes. So just calm down. And, you know, if you really want to support the local Japanese artists who are not getting the due or the recognition that they deserve, then hey, guess what? How about you promote them a little bit more? The fans
stand up for them.
Yeah, exactly. From a fan point of view, if you really want your local artists to get some more exposure, then hey, spread the word out more.
Get behind them.
Exactly.
Stop bringing over dramas from other countries and making them into Japanese and having them fail.
Exactly.
Get better talent.
Stop making the same drama twice and within a few years. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, get better storylines.
Exactly.
Get better skits for your variety shows.
Exactly.
Get better variety shows.
And bring back Cartoon Catoon. I'm sorry. That just came out of nowhere.
Oh my God.
It was deep down inside. It's been brewing for a while. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
But I avoid whenever I see it on Twitter, anything that has to do with like all these Korean artists going into Japan, I avoid that entirely because I can't put them to the same level. But the Korean groups that I follow are more in the indie scene, and whenever I look up a performance, it's always in Japan because they're appreciated a lot more in Japan than they are in Korea.
Oh yeah.
And the response they get from the fans, whether it be Japanese or Korean, is awesome. Mm-hmm. So I'm always surprised that there's always the few that make it seem like it's such a big thing. Like, oh my God, all these Korean artists coming over here, it's going to mess up what we have going. I'm like, no, look, smaller bands can get in and be appreciated still. And fans can appreciate both the Korean and the Japanese music. Mm-hmm. So, and then all these Japanese artists that are finally going outside. And it's so exciting for other countries to get them to come and perform in their own countries.
Right.
So I think it's awesome. I think everyone should just spread out and go everywhere.
Do their thing. Do as much as you can wherever you can.
And Japanese love a good J-rock band or a rock
band in general.
That's what I meant.
Right.
A rock band.
Mm-hmm. And I don't see anybody in Japan tripping over the Americans coming over every 3 seconds. The Lady Gagas, the Foo Fighters, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You know,
Lady
I mean,
Gaga.
And you perform and you play like every American movie that comes out. You know, here in the States, you play them over there. Like, I don't understand. I think it's more of the history that Japan has with Korea than anything else.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Because, I mean, there are some people out there who do feel like there's too much American influence in Japan and blah, blah, blah. Like, I know there are a lot of people that get pissed off around Halloween time.
Right.
Because of the people that celebrate Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is an American holiday. We're in Japan and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
They protest and stuff. But in general, they adopt so many of our craziness and our trends and our this and our that. And yet when it comes to the, Korea going over, they're like brother, sister country.
Exactly.
I mean, if you think about it. And yet it's like
it's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, 2chan just goes crazy over that stuff.
And what's funny is like some of the top artists in Japan now are Korean. I think people...
And Zainichi Korean. Or their mother is Korean.
Exactly.
Or something like that.
Crystal K.
Yeah.
Zainichi Korean. I think people...
Miyavi Zainichi Korean.
Miyavi. I think some people keep forgetting that Iconic is not Japanese. She's Korean. And I think people really sincerely keep forgetting that.
A lot of their models...
Korean.
Are half Korean.
Or American.
Half this, half that. And they have more foreign models over there than God knows what.
Exactly. Hell, the first time I got into freaking TVXQ was because of Japan, and I thought they were Japanese the first time I heard them. And then no, they're Korean. Like, people just need to calm down, chill out, look at the bigger picture, and stop protesting thing. And I think I've mentioned this time and time before, but a lot of the protests and the petitions and all that sort of stuff, 95% of the time falls on deaf ears. It's kind of a waste of time. So instead of bashing things and saying, oh, we hate this, we hate that, how about you get behind something that you do believe in and do want to see more of, and then maybe, hey, eventually you will see that. Just a thought.
Get that competitive light in you.
Exactly. Because Lord knows I did love me some Yuya's new video
Hell
that was
yeah.
Korean-ish, pop-ish inspired.
Super drive, motherfucker.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Yuya had some good jams before Super Drive.
Yeah.
But nothing to this
I
level.
like Trust Me.
Yeah, Trust Me was good. He had the single from I believe last year or this year called Bird that I liked as well. He has great songs, but nothing like Super Drive.
But you can't leave all that stuff on people just like Yuya and Daiichi.
Right.
There needs to be a whole slew of people.
There's got to be a lot of them
who put their heart and soul in stuff.
What I've noticed a lot lately is that the main people complaining about the artists going into Japan from Korea don't even live in Japan.
Nope.
Aren't even Japanese.
Ain't that annoying?
Annoying as fuck, and I want to call them out right now. Shut the fuck up. You have nothing to do with this. Shut up. Nobody cares. Unless you're living in Japan or a Japanese and are seeing what's going on and have an issue with it, okay, go ahead, discuss, do your thing. But if you ain't even there and you're bitching about, yeah, we don't like this. Who's we?
I know.
You don't live there. Shut up.
There was some of that in that thread too.
I've seen a lot of that in recent months, and that
do you live there?
I just want to piss on everybody when they say that shit.
We're talking about the people that when they go to their local, 7-Eleven, there's fucking 2 p.m. playing.
Right.
Okay, and then when they go to their office, there's fucking Kata playing in the elevator.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. We're talking about them people.
Then when they go home at night and they turn on the TV, the first thing they see on the fucking news is Big Bang.
Exactly. We're talking about them.
We're talking about them.
We're not talking about you heifers that come from Texas or Ohio and then go home on your internet and go to a certain blog.
Everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We ain't talking about you bitches, all right? So that's another thing I wish people would stop. If you're not over there complaining about it, shut the fuck up. And there you go. It took 3 weeks, but we finally got around to it. But what do you guys think? Make sure you leave a comment on this week's post and let us know your thoughts on this whole situation. So.